Good afternoon, welcome back to the vlog. As you can see, I still have the Interceptor 650. I actually sold it this week and then had to cancel the sale. I bought a brand new motorbike. For those of you that have been in my community section, you might have seen the photo of the rear wheel of it, but I've been tripped up at the very last hurdle with this new bike, which has given me a very big reason not to buy it. But whilst I'm here with the bike today in the garage, I thought I would talk through briefly the modifications that I've done to it over the past 2 or 3 months. Pre-Europe, post-Europe, I've had many questions about specifics such as the new tyres that are on there, the exhaust pipes, the bars, the mirrors, etc. So I'm going to jump into that really briefly now and then get to the rest afterwards. Okay, got myself a seat rather than crouching down for 10 minutes. Let's jump into the modifications. I'm going to start with the tyres. I get so many questions on these now. These are K60 Scout tyres. I will put the full spec in the description below, including the sizes in case you want to get yourself some. Do not make the mistake I made. I went down to 2 Tyres London with a brand new chain fitted on my bike. Got there, had the wheels off, had the tyres off, put new inner tubes on, new tyres on, tried to put the wheels back on the bike. They wouldn't fit because the chain was too small, which meant the tyre was pressing against the swing arm. So my brand new chain had to come off. We had to put a brand new chain on to fit these tyres on, but it was worth it in the end. Bit more of an expense, about £100 more I think, but well worth it. I love these tyres. Let's jump into the performance of them. On the road they feel very planted. You feel much more like you're riding a tank in a way. It's much bigger, feels beefier, you can hear them as well, but they're not great on corners. You have to get used to them and they're not great on corners whatsoever. Obviously they're not designed for the road, so there you go. If you're looking to go for a scrambler vibe, then great, get them, but if you're just riding on the road, I really wouldn't recommend them. There's no point unless you really like the look. If you're off-roading, however, like I have been on green lanes recently, I cannot recommend these tyres enough. I've done grass, gravel, dirt, water on these tyres now, and they are just incredible. They grip so well. You don't lose the front end whatsoever. On gravel in Europe, the front end would always slip and slide out from beneath you. Now it just floats over it, grips it so well. So that's the tyres. The exhaust pipes, these are slip-on pipes from Tech. I couldn't tell you exactly which ones these are because I did not buy them myself. They were on the bike when I bought it, but they sound incredible. Many people have said to me recently they're too loud to ride around with all day, but in reality, in real life, they're actually fine. They sound beautiful. The reason it sounds loud on my vlog is because the microphone's in my backpack down here right next to them. In the helmet, it's not too bad, and I really love these slip-ons. I bought the rails here and the rack on the back, both from Hitchcock's. Really great, easy to install, and obviously they've been great around Europe for the bags. Very easy to tie things to, including if you haven't got bags, just a net over the top of there. But I've left those on because they're just really handy to have. Something else that came with the bike was the, sliding off the back of this thing here, was the engine bars. I personally don't see the point in them. I've never dropped this bike. I don't think I will ever drop this bike, even off-road. It's very low to the ground and very easy to maneuver and handle, but they're on the bike. Bit more weight. They look pretty cool, I guess. They protect the engine if you do drop it. Fine. Those are from Hitchcock's as well. Royal Enfield official engine bars. The heated grips. I relocated the control panel down to here temporarily with a zip tie to make it look nicer. That looks horrible on the bars, but I never got around to fixing it properly. But this has worked fine. The heated grips I would recommend massively. Mine are just Oxford heated grips and they're just handy to have. If your hands ever get a little bit cold, it's such a distraction, especially if you get numb fingers. It becomes very difficult to shift or play with the clutch or brake and whatnot. You can't feel anything, so it's worth having heated grips also for safety, not just for comfort. We have the Sump guard. That is also from Hitchcock's. Was kind of a pain to install, so I got the garage to do it for me with a service. But yeah, really useful to have that if you're going to get these tyres, because having these tyres on means that a lot of stuff gets caught in them in the tread, flicks up, and you don't want stuff to hit the engine, particularly going off-road. Obviously, it's worth having a Sump guard. This has been great. There's one thing I would say, you do hear the vibrations from the engine through the plates. When you're riding along, it sounds a little bit different, but I don't really care about that. It's fine. What else do we have? For the tyres, I put mudguard risers on the front mudguard so I can get my whole hand below there now. If you're riding on the road, you might not need these because the tyres do fit without them. But if you're riding off-road, I would really recommend getting them just because, as I've said just now, stuff gets caught in these tyres. And if you're riding off-road, mud, gravel, whatnot will get caught, come up and then jam on the mudguard, and your front wheel might end up getting jammed. So I would raise it up if you want to do off-road. If not, don't worry about it. USB port plug and play from Hitchcock's. I can't show you that right now because it's on the other side, but super easy to install. Dual USB port, really handy to have, especially around Europe, to keep everything charged, the batteries, the phone, the camera, etc. These new bars and the mirror are both from Urban Rider. I can't really recommend them. They're very cheap. I wanted to try them out. These are scrambler bars. I love the feel. I feel much more engaged with the bike, much more into the bike, and can handle it much better than the flat tracker bars that I had, which kind of swept back. Felt way too cruisy for me. However, these have rusted in the welding sections, and so has the mirror, which is also from Urban Rider. If you want the links to these, I can link them in the description. You'd be better off getting some more high quality bars or even the Himalayan bars and putting those on the bike, you know. There's a few smaller things like the fly screen on the front, which does nothing apart from protect your dials from the flies, and a little peak on the headlight, which everyone seems to love, but I don't really care that much about it. It's nice to have. It was already on the bike. And I think that is all of the modifications. If I keep this bike for winter, what I will do is buy black engine casing, black transmission case, and black rocker covers or whatnot, just to get rid of this metal. Because I think during the winter, these are already hard to maintain and keep polished. During the winter, with salt on the roads, I dread to think how much you're going to have to keep cleaning these to stop them from corroding and marking. So I would replace all of this metalwork with black covered replacements from Royal Enfield. You can buy them from Royal Enfield or even on Hitchcock's or from India. It's cheaper. And I might also spray this black. I would replace the rear shocks with some higher shocks, ready for some more off-roading. And in turn, I would have to raise up the front forks or replace the whole front end. A friend of mine sent me yesterday some fork extenders that you can buy, I think, from Hitchcock's, and you just screw those on and then it allows you to drop the forks down a bit so it all comes higher, because if you raise the shocks, you're going to be down like that. Unless you replace the front wheel with a bigger wheel, you need to raise something. So the front forks seems to be the best option right now, and that's all I would change for the time being. Now here's the thing, I have thought long and hard about this. I can keep the Interceptor and keep modifying it, making it more off-road worthy. I do love this bike, and I also love the look of it. It looks incredible, it's a head turner, and the sound of it. But my thoughts are, why would I go away and spend hundreds, if not thousands of pounds modifying this bike to make it more off-road worthy when the total cost of it will stay around the same for resale? You know, it's not going to gain much money when I go on to sell it, when I could just go out and buy myself an adventure bike that's designed to do that kind of work, and I can go hard with it and not worry too much about, you know, it not being the right bike for the job, you know. Well, I bought myself. The page is nearly close to 1,000 followers now, which is insane to me. And if it does tip that point, I'm working on something to put out there just to celebrate that milestone. So thank you all so much for following, commenting, liking. As always, I just massively appreciate it. I'm going to take a bit of a step back from the vlog this month. I'm going away for a couple of weeks next month to film, and that's kind of my priority right now, which is really exciting. And then I will be back hopefully over the winter, if not towards spring, with some more content. Obviously, if I do change the bike, I will be here a hell of a lot more, I'm sure, testing out the bike on some green lanes and some dirt roads, some gravel roads and whatnot, and just kind of having a bit of fun over the winter. But for now, that is it. That is the situation thus far. It's about 5 months now since I started this vlog, and it's been a wild ride. But we've got a trip kind of in motion. We're planning for next year, potentially Spain and the Pyrenees, 2 up. That would be. But yeah, for now, I'm going to take a short break and I will be back. This vlog will not go dormant, I promise. And I'll see you all very soon.